Are student loans your oldest debt? You feel like you're going to have them forever? Well, stay tuned and we can help you out. Blessings. Welcome to my channel. My name is Taj UC and I am a certified financial coach. I am also the founder of True Financial Coaching, where our mission here is to help you to invest in yourself. And the way we do that is by educating you, enlightening you, and equipping you with the financial literacy that is needed in order to get off the rat wheel. What is the rat wheel? The rat wheel is when one is constantly financing objects that go down in value for them, but up in value for the banks. The wheel is only powered as long as the rat is constantly moving. So, as long as one is continuously financing depreciating objects, then they will continuously power the rat wheel. How does one get off the rat wheel? Simply by stop financing things that go down in value. Once one stops powering the rat wheel, then they become free to do what they want, when they want, instead of having to do the things that they don't want. Today's video is something a little different than I've done in the past. First time I've done before is I'm going to look at do a video review. And the video review is about student loan debt. Now, purpose of this video is not to make fun of any of the individuals that are sharing their stories in this video, but the purpose of this video is to show you how student loan debt is a form of bondage. My intentions, again, of showing you this video is also to enlighten you about how one cannot be free if they have student loan debt. So what we're going to do is take a look at this video, and I'm going to be pausing it throughout the video and just give a little my take on what was said throughout the course of the video. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. So again, today's video I will be doing a video review on the lasting burden of college debt. That's the name of the video. And it's about a 7-minute video, almost 8 minutes. But like I said, I'm going to be stopping it at certain points, giving my take about some of the things that were stated and mentioned within this video. So we're going to hit play and hopefully get to learn something about the lasting burden of college debt.
Good girl. 76-year-old Yvonne Evans has been trying to pay off student loans for nursing courses she took at Southside Virginia Community College over 30 years ago.
The loan gonna be here when I'm dead and gone. There's no way I can pay it off. I'm not working now. Whole stack over here, let's see.
Her original balance from 1989 was around $5,500 and has ballooned to nearly $35,000 with interest. Evans.
All right, so here we have a lady by the name of Yvonne Evans, 76 years old. She says she's had her student loans for 30 years. She has grandchildren, and she still has student loan debt. Unfortunately, this is the situation for many individuals. As I've said in previous videos, how people have had grandchildren and still have student loan debt. They've went to school and completed a whole career and then retire with the student loan debt. There's no way you can retire with student loan debt. And when I say no way you can retire with student loan debt, what I mean is that although you may be physically retired from that job, your mind will not have peace when you still have student loan debt. Although that individual may have retired, that student loan debt didn't retire. It's still there, as we can see with this lady here. One thing that she said that was interesting was that she said, I'm never going to get rid of this student loan debt. See, and this is what I'm saying and have been saying, that it starts with the mindset. If you say to yourself, I'm never going to be able to do this, I'm never going to be able to do that, right there you're twice defeated. You're already defeated because you have already made up in your mind that I'm going to die with this debt. It starts with the mindset. If you change your mindset, then you can change your life. The lady in the video also stated that, she's not working. Okay. She was taking care of her mother. You'll see that as you go along, which is understandable. Life happens, but you had the student loan debt for 30 years. I'm not against student loan debt. What I'm against is carrying student loan debt for that long. When I say I'm not against student loan debt, I mean I'm not against one taking out a student loan. But my rule of thumb, and this is just my rule of thumb, that if you go to school for 4 years and you have to take out a student loan, once you graduate and you start working, you should have that student loan paid off in 4 years. If you go to school for 5 years, you should have that debt paid off in 5 years after you graduate. So that's my rule of thumb. To carry student loan debt for so many years, it just doesn't make sense. And it's not, I'm not blaming it all on her because other factors came in. But we as individuals need to start taking responsibility for our actions. And I'll get more into that a little bit more because there's some things that I think can be done better with taking on student loan debt. But I'm going to let the video play again.
Now has to pay more than 6 times her original loan amount.
I get these every month. Every month. I want to feel of value and pay my bills, but I'm just at a standstill. I never thought this would happen to me for almost 13 years, taking care of my mom. I didn't ask anybody for anything. But now, I pray so hard, it just looked like my prayers are not being answered. And I just don't know what to do.
So, and this is a feeling that many Americans have with student loan debt. They feel hopeless. In her case, she had $5,500 worth of student loan debt, and he said it almost 6 times that now, so over $30,000. And this was in 1989, so I did some research looking up based upon the American Institute of Economic Research to see what the value of $5,500 was back in 1989 compared to today. So $5,500 back in 1989 in today's time would be a little over $13,500. Now, she said she's been taking care of her mother for 13 years and not working. Okay, life happens. But again, she had these student loans for 30 years. What about the 17 years prior to her taking care of her mother? And again, not trying to make fun of her, but I just want to show something that, she said she never thought she'd be like this, and now she's feeling hopeless. And this is what I've been stressing about, the importance of financial literacy, the importance of budgeting, because when you know better, you can do better. And it's apparent that this elderly woman, she was not, well, I can't say that, but I'm assuming that she maybe wasn't educated. But my thing is, you took these loans out. They're not just going to disappear if you don't, because you're not making payments. And this is the mindset that many people have. They have that mindset where it's out of sight, out of mind. But again, the student loans are always going to be there. So to say, I didn't know, we can't use that as an excuse. So if you take a look, again, her student loans was about $5,500. Now it's over $30,000. What is that? The power of compound interest. I believe it was Albert Einstein that said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He said, he who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. I believe it was along those lines was the quote. And that's so true. Over the course of the time from when she graduated up until this present, day, the power of compound interest worked against her. It worked against her. And this is where we fall into the trap. You're taking out loans after loans after loans, and okay, the interest is the tax that you're paying because you didn't have the money. Interest is the tax that you have agreed to pay because you didn't have the money. So even though she got her degrees, the degrees mean nothing if she's still in debt. You got your degree, you can go work, okay, but that student loan is still there. It's still there, and it's not going away until you pay for it. All right.
I'm holding in my hand is my diploma.
Evans was eventually able to earn her bachelor's and master's degrees for free at other Virginia universities thanks to the Brown v. Board of Education Scholarship Program, which was created by Virginia's legislature in 2004. It was given to students locked out of Virginia schools when districts closed to avoid court-ordered desegregation laws in the 1950s and 60s. But Evans hasn't been able to use the degrees she earned over the years because she had to become a full-time caregiver for relatives who were having health issues. Most recently, she's had a hard time finding work while helping care for her grandkids, yet she still gets monthly student loan bills.
There's this huge mindset about go to college and make yourself better and, this will be good for you and all this sort of thing. And then people wind up in debt, huge amounts of debt, and worse off.
Around 20% of students who enroll in Virginia colleges drop out within the first year, often with debt and earning low wages.
See, and this is what I'm talking about. One of the videos I talked about the public school system being a program and how a lot of times, the school systems, they pump, go to college. You're not going to be successful unless you go to college. And that's a program. College is not the end-all be-all. College is a business. It's a business. And many young people, they're pumped this, go to college, get a job, be a success. They're being pumped that, they're being programmed to believe that, you got to go to college to be something. That is not true. And what's disheartening is that you're getting these 17-year-old kids, 18-year-old kids being programmed they have to go to college. Then they sign in paperwork without understanding the long-term impact that it's going to have on them, where they're, like they said in the video, 20% drop out of college after the first year with debt. So now you're 17, 18, 19 years old, signing up for these student loans, and now you're starting your life in debt. That's unethical. That a lot of these universities do not educate these young people about the impact of student loans on your career, your working career, and how it can negatively affect you. not just financially, but mentally and emotionally. Like you said, this woman, she had her mindset 76 years old, and she's still worrying about student loans and getting student loan statements. 76 years old. But that's the program, is to create debt slaves. It's to create indentured servants. Because student loan debt, no matter how long you have it, you cannot bankrupt that. You can bankrupt credit card debt. You can bankrupt auto loan. You can bankrupt mortgages. You can bankrupt almost every debt except for IRS debt and student loan debt. But this is the program. This is the agenda that they're pushing. Go to college. Go to college. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with going to college, but there's things that you don't have to go to college for. And a lot of times these young people don't even know what they want to go to college for. They just go because that's what they've been programmed to know and to do. Go to college. A lot of these young people need to, should just go out, get a job, or maybe go to community college, 2-year college. But a lot of people look down on the community colleges because, that's a community college. It's not a big name like Virginia Commonwealth or University of Pennsylvania, Drexel, Duke, North Carolina. But yet in the first 2 years, you're still learning the same thing that you would at a community college. Go to community college for 2 years, pay that out of pocket. And if you have to, then if you want to go, or if you find, look, this is not for me, do something else, create a business, or whatever. But a lot of these young people don't even know what they want to do coming out of high school right away. But they just keep the assembly line going. Elementary school, middle school, high school, college. Just keep that assembly line going to do what? Produce workers. And then get these kids in debt at 18, 19 years old. And they already starting off the race behind. It's a scam. It's a shame, man.
Jay Spear has been helping Virginians with various types of debt for 24 years at the Virginia Poverty Law Center. He says the collection tactics associated with student debt can be intimidating and overwhelming.
There's actually been a pretty long history of student debt collection being much harsher than any other kind of debt collection. If your only income is Social Security, no debt collector can take your bank account or garnish your Social Security money except the federal government if you owe them for a student loan.
Look at that. You mean to tell me here you collecting Social Security checks and the federal government is still trying to take money from you? And I get it. You took out a loan. Yes, I get it. You took out a loan. You should be responsible for paying back that loan. Scripture says, owe no man anything. Owe no man anything. So yeah, you pay back your loans. But again, these are poorly educated individuals in some cases, not in all, in some cases. Like I said, to have an individual still paying off student loan debts in their 70s, that's a problem. There's something wrong with that. Again, people make bad decisions. They lack financial savvy and the know-how to, take care of their own debts by budgeting and things of that nature. But that's just ridiculous to have the government still taking money from you from your Social Security check. That's ridiculous.
There's another type of student debt that can have an equally devastating impact much earlier in life, though it's not federal student loan debt. It's debt owed directly to colleges and universities and often referred to as direct-to-school debt.
Pretty typically, the person left college for what anyone would think is a valid reason. They were sick, their mom was sick. Somebody told me once that they were being stalked. All kinds of things that I don't think anybody would fault them for leaving school. They were just shocked when they came back later and tried to get their degree and found out that they either couldn't apply somewhere else because they weren't able to get the transcripts, or they weren't going to get credit. I mean, some really fairly heartbreaking stories.
Salona Perkins was in foster care until age 16 and was solely responsible for paying for college. She had her transcript withheld from Virginia Commonwealth University in 2019 because Salona's GPA was just shy of the required 2.0 at the end of her third semester. VCU sent her federal financial aid back to the federal government. This is a common reason students end up with direct-to-school debt. Perkins ended up with a balance of about $9,000 directly to VCU, not to mention an additional $2,000 in collection fees.
Not being able to finish my courses at VCU did take a toll on me mentally. You have all your friends who have succeeded and you just feel left out. You have to drop all your courses. You have to move out. You have to move back into your parents' house, and your freedom that you once had is gone. So
see, this is what I'm talking about the program, She said, having to drop out of school, okay, does something mentally and emotionally. And I get that. Because when I was going, I went to Howard University for about a year. And, again, you don't know, Howard University is in Washington, D.C. I live in Philly, and, coming out of high school, went to Howard University. All right. It got expensive. So, I had to come back home, and, it kind of weighed on me, but I was cool with it. It didn't, I was good with it. And then, from there, I went to Temple University. Did that for some time, worked while I was going through school. My mom, was able to make payments, but then at a certain point, had to take out loans. Okay, cool. All right, but that was the program, go to school. Because high school I went to is like everybody went to college. Everybody. That was like, it was a college prep high school, public school in Philly. And they pushed college, pushed it. And this is what I'm saying, man. And even when I went to Howard, I was a business major or whatever, accounting major, whatever. But then when I transferred, went back home, came back to Philly, got into Temple, I just changed my degree. And that's what I'm saying, how young people don't even know what they want to do, what they want to be. But to constantly pump it. It's like, it's a program. And this is what I'm saying, it's a program. And this young lady, one thing she said, that she, having to drop out and seeing all your friends go to college and take their classes and succeed, it does something to you. Who says that they're succeeding because they're going to college? Who says that you're not succeeding because you chose not to go to college? So, but again, this is what they feed the young people to make them believe that, okay, if you don't go to college, you're not a success. She said she had to move back home with her parents. Hey, that's a good thing. Because now, she worked as a 911 dispatcher. You move back home with your parents, you get a job, you can stack your bread, save your money, give your parents something, yes. But you can stack your bread, save your money, attack that debt. Some parents are so quick to put their children out on the street when they turn 18. Now you got to get out of my house. No. It shouldn't work like that. They not equipped. You're just gonna toss them out there to the piranhas, to the debt collectors and to the banks, so they can be pick on them all the meat off their bones, and then they left with nothing. So moving back home as a young person, that's a good thing. If you can stay home with your parents, stay home with your parents and stack your bread. You got to go to college. Stay home with your parents. You graduate, stay home a little bit longer. Give them a little something. Pay back that student loan debt. That way you don't have that burden on you for all those years where you 50, 60 years old, about to retire, and you still got student loan debt. Again, this is the program. And what disheartens me is that they're not preparing these young people. The schools aren't preparing the young people with the proper curriculum instruction on finances where they know what they're getting into. Parents aren't having these conversations with their children to let them know, okay, this, you want to go to college, you had to take out student loans, okay, this is what comes with it. Then you got parents taking out the Parent Plus loans, where here they still got parents that went to school, got their own student loan debt. Now they're taking on student loan debt for their children, more debt for their children. Why? Because they feel as though they feel guilty because they didn't do what it took to save for their child's college fund or education, postgraduate education, post-secondary education. So now they say, oh, let me take on this Parent Plus loan. And now what's that? More debt. So now you got your loan that you had 20 years ago, and now you got your child's Parent Plus loan. More debt. And then people wonder why they can't get ahead. The system is designed to create indentured servants. That's what this economic system is designed for. It's designed to create indentured servants. And unless one has knowledge and they're applying that knowledge, then they're going to be a slave all their life. They're going to be a slave. They're going to die a slave. This lady said, I don't see this student loan debt going nowhere. It's going to be here when I'm dead and gone. That's a slave mentality. That's a slave mindset. One must educate themselves, because if the schools is not going to do it, you got to educate yourselves. You got to educate yourself. Make better decisions. Create a budget. Have a plan. Because if you don't, you're going to die a slave.
So it did take a toll on me mentally. Not only that, I had to figure out a way how I'm going to pay $9,000 back with the jobs I go to every day. It was just a lot emotionally and mentally. I was only 19, 20, and I felt like I was in some sort of midlife crisis.
Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. She was only 19, 20 years old. Talking about she felt like she was in a midlife crisis at 19 or 20. But that's the burden, the pressure, the part of the program to make you feel like this is hopeless. I ain't going to be able to pay this back. And $9,000 is not a lot. But for somebody 19 and 20 years old, to them, that can be $90,000. That's equal to $90,000. 19, 20 years old, just starting off, just graduated high school. And you starting off already behind. Where's the information to prepare these young people? And that's another thing. Like I said, and I've said this before, I'm a school teacher, a math teacher, and I'm on the sabbatical. And during the sabbatical, I done reached out to about 10, 12 schools about financial literacy. Starting a program, a curriculum. I have a curriculum. It's an excellent curriculum. It's free. Made the proposal to schools. Most of them never got back to me. A couple of them backpedaled. It's like, why would you not want to have this in the schools? But yet you want to have subjects like study skills. Doing study skills, what is that? Having history of rap. Having LGBTQ plus studies. Like, why are these classes in the schools, but yet you're not implementing one of the most important subjects that needs to be in the school, which is financial literacy. How to use money, how to manage money, because money is a tool, and all tools come with instructions. All tools come with instructions. You get a drill, it got instructions with it. You get an oven, instructions with it. Whatever. Tools come with instructions. Money's a tool, but where are the instructions at? Why are we not being instructed on how to use this tool to build wealth? It's a travesty. It's a disgrace. But that's the American way.
I had this plan set for myself, and it was, what am I going to do now?
Eventually, Perkins decided to go back to school at J. Sargent Reynolds Community College, but she had to repeat multiple classes since VCU withheld her transcript.
Having to redo classes is a very frustrating thing because no one wants to redo classes that you've already taken and paid for. Also, with the schedule that I have, it's time consuming to have to redo all those classes again.
And in my humble opinion, a lot of kids should just go to community college because you can see first of all, when going back, she was struggling with her studies. She barely had a 2.0. She didn't even meet the 2.0 requirement. So that lets me know, what things might have been going on in her life, or maybe she was academically not able to keep up with the work. But this is why, the community colleges should be pushed. Go to community college 2 years. And then if you feel as though, okay, this is something I want to continue, all right, then I can transfer to the 4-year program and finish up my last 2 years. Get adjusted to it. If you need to take a gap year, ain't nothing wrong with that. Take a gap year and work, do something productive, see what it is you want to get involved in. Because at 18, 19 years old, you don't even know what you want to do with your life. In most cases. You got some rare exceptions where the young people they already set, this is what I want to do. And then half the stuff you go to college for, you don't even need to go to college for. Like, unless you're being a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, or something that requires it, an engineer that requires to go to college, half the stuff they offer you don't need to go to college for. Basket weaving, synchronized swimming. I'm like, what? Like, a lot of these stuff you can just get with the right people and take an apprenticeship and learn as you go, and then create your own business, create your own your brand, instead of just going to college and then working for somebody else. What about the creating? They don't teach, they don't push that. They don't push the create. Instead, they want us to just work. Live for the weekend. Work. And then die with all this debt. I'm not saying this to justify people carrying student loan debt. I'm just saying that the system is designed to promote and produce indentured servants. Slavery ain't in. Slavery has not ended. It just evolved. Because student loan debt, that's bondage. Any type of debt is bondage. There is no such thing as good debt and bad debt. When I'm talking about personal finances only. See, because people have a tendency of mixing and intertwining business with personal. Business debt with personal debt. Those two different things. I'm simply talking about personal debt. And that's a form of bondage.
Regulations that bar colleges from withholding transcripts for credits already paid for go into effect this summer. State lawmaker Delegate Betsy Carr also sponsored a bill this year to require universities to release transcripts of all credits, paid for or not, to a student's employer or prospective employer.
As a lawmaker, this is important so that we get our students graduating and into the workforce. And sometimes
Look at that. See? Told you. She said, we want to get our students graduated and into the workforce. Told you. Just producing workers. That's what school is. They just want to produce workers. It's an assembly line. Colleges are big businesses. Big businesses. These universities, before this NIL thing with the athletes, name, image, likeness, these universities were exploiting these student athletes, exploiting them. These universities were making big bucks off these athletes, making millions off these athletes. And here you got these athletes can't even go to get a pack of ramen noodles. Got to scrounge up money to go to Taco Bell. If you ever get a chance, there's a documentary on the Fab Five, college basketball team, University of Michigan, back in the 90s. Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Juwan Howard, Jimmy King, Ricky Jackson, Fab Five freshmen. And Chris Webber, he talks about, him and Jalen Rose, they talk about, Jalen Rose basically more, because Chris Webber really wasn't involved, but they talk about him in the documentary as well. But, they were saying, Jalen Rose was saying how they had to gather money together with him and their friends to go buy Taco Bell. They had to get money together to go buy Taco Bell. Here, he's on the court, balling. University of Michigan making millions of money, millions of dollars. Chris Webber, they said Chris Webber walked by one of the sneaker stores, saw his jersey hanging up in the window. They selling his jersey, and here he only got nothing in his pocket, no money, nothing. College is a business. It's a business, and they exploit these children. And that's what they are. They're children. And this is what they do. They pump this college into their heads, into their mindset. Go to college, be successful. And they exploit them, put them in debt. They allow credit card companies to be on the campuses, signing up for credit cards. What are they doing? They're investing in their future. See, and that's what the colleges say. Oh, invest in your future. Invest in your future. No. The colleges and the banks are investing in the futures of these young people. How? Because they're getting them in debt before they even get a job, so that when they get a job, oh, now you owe me plus interest. The college is not an investment. You're the investment. You're the investment.
Debt to the institutions would hold them back, and they couldn't be able to move forward in the way that they would like to get their jobs. And one piece of that is not being able to get their transcripts from an institution because of direct debt to the institution.
Carr's legislation also prohibits transcript withholding for debts under $500 and under $1,000 for Pell Grant recipients. And also when a student has set up a payment plan and made 3 consecutive payments. The bill has strong support and passed the Senate unanimously. Only 2 lawmakers opposed it.
Everybody was on board with this. Everybody, no one is kind of holding back on this, because everybody wants our students to move forward and to become who they can become. So I think that everybody will be cooperating to make this happen.
Salona Perkins testified in the General Assembly in support of the bill in 2022. Even though Perkins couldn't get her transcript, she hopes the legislation will help other students who are stuck in similar predicaments. And she says her experience advocating for Delegate Carr's legislation inspired her to focus her career on the legal profession.
I do want to succeed in school, whether I stop here at paralegal studies or I go to that university and continue law. I do want to succeed. I feel like I cannot give up. What I want out of life, I feel like I have to work for it, and that's the only way it's gonna happen.
See, and then she said a good thing. And, if she take that mindset and apply it to, not just her, but people took that mindset and applied it to paying off their debt, they'll be free. Because she said, whatever I want out of life, I got to work for it. I got to work for it. And that's what it is, same with paying off debt. If you want to be free, you got to work towards that freedom. You can never be free with mounds of debt. Again, Proverbs 22:7 says, the borrower is servant to the lender. the borrower is servant to the lender. So as long as one has debt, whether it's student loan debt, car loan debt, credit card debt, whatever kind of debt, personal debt, they're the borrower and the bank is the lender. And however long you carry that debt, you're a servant, an indentured servant, an indentured servant. You won't be free until you pay off your debt. You won't be free. Now, you may have, and it starts with the mindset. Your mind got to be set free first. And then once you have the mindset to be free, you'll work towards being physically free, being free from the shackles of debt. So all she got to do is take that mindset and transfer it to, paying off that debt. That elderly lady, and we'll get back to her as well, Yvonne, the lady, elderly lady from the beginning. It's never too late. It's never too late. And many people have this mindset where it's hopeless. They feel hopeless. And I know that because I was there. I was there. But it wasn't until, I just sat back, changed my mindset, but now I changed my life. If you change your mindset, you can change your life.
Happen if I keep going.
For Yvonne Evans, the student loans that have been hanging over her head for over 30 years still cause sleepless nights.
I have lost so much sleep with this loan. And it just looks like God has given me.
See, and that's another thing. Debt can bring about health issues. The burden of debt can bring about health issues with the stress. Maybe some people begin overeating because they're emotional. They use other outlets to alleviate the burdens, the stress of debt, whatever it may be, drugs, food, whatever it may be, just not taking care of yourself. All because of debt. You have individuals that have killed themselves because of debt. And this is what I'm talking about. My mission is to equip people, enlighten people, and educate people with the tools necessary to be free. That's it. To inject hope in the people by simply giving them a new mindset and an outlook on debt, because we look at it and we don't have a plan and we don't know how to attack it. And yes, the debt is big, but even an elephant can be eaten. How? One bite at a time. One bite at a time. And the same with your debt. You can have hundreds of thousands of debt. You get on the plan and you can knock that out. And I feel sorry for this woman, because you had a mindset at the beginning when you had all this hope, going to school and so happy, and and now 30 plus years later, it's like all hope is gone. But it's not. Where there's life, there's hope. Where there's life, there's hope.
Some kind of relief as to stop worrying. Because I really have lost a lot of sleep worrying about this loan, and I just don't worry about it anymore. If I want to...
You don't worry about it anymore. You need to worry about it, because you got to get it out of your life. You don't worry about it where, okay, you're going, doing harm to yourself, but you need to think about it. And a lot of people have this mindset, I ain't going to think about it no more. That ain't going to change the fact that it's still there. It's still there. You don't want to die a slave. And many people, they'll never experience what freedom is, from a natural perspective. I'm just talking about from natural perspective, because true freedom is being obedient to the word of God and living a life that's pleasing in the sight of God. That's true freedom. But we're just talking about from a natural perspective, from a debt perspective, from a financial perspective. And they'll never be able to do what they want with the time in their life because they got to do what? Work to pay back debt. You don't, and I'm saying, I'm not against working. I'm not against that. Person loves what they're doing, great. But you have millions of people at jobs that they don't want to be at, but they have to because of debt. Because of debt. And people, and that's what I mean, how people will never experience the freedom of owning the time in your life and doing what you want when you want instead of doing the things that you don't want. That's what I mean. And this lady is just one example of millions of people throughout America. Millions of people. Student loan debt is astronomically high. But people think it's just a part of life, and it's not. Debt is not a part of life. And as I said before, debt may be common, but it's not normal. It's not normal. You get on a budget, make a plan, for yourself, and you can taste the freedom. Even the scriptures talks about budgeting. It talks about budgeting. In the book of Ecclesiasticus, speaks about taking a record of what you take in and what you give out. Writing down what you take in and what you give out. That's a budget. That's a budget. Scriptures, throughout the scriptures, it talks about the different things. Jesus said, do a man intendeth to build a tower and he don't count up the cost? You don't count up the cost? These are biblical principles. Counting up the cost, planning, budgeting before you go build. And that's what's lacking. And all those tools are not taught in school. And this is why the cycle, the will keeps powering. Debt powers that will. Debt powers that will. And people are running and getting tired and ain't making no progress, just like on a will.
Continue to get older, then I need to start worrying.
But Evans is not worried about her grandson.
I am very, very proud of my grandson. My second grandchild is going to college for engineering, and he won't have to pay anything, nothing at all. And I am so happy about it. He's got several scholarships, and I am so proud of him.
So, hope that video was helpful, and hopefully you learned something from it about the importance of just making right decisions and the importance of eliminating debt, the importance of having a plan, because otherwise you're going to carry these student loan debt until you go to your grave. And like I said, you'll never get to experience what it feels like to own the time in your life. So, if you're ready to take that journey, you're ready to get off the rat wheel, visit me and schedule a consultation at truefincoaching.com, and we can help you get on your journey of being financially at peace. Peace and blessings.